whispering entertainment. In tonight's video, we are doing our first tier list of the off-season. We're starting with the running backs, of course, because what else would you start with when ranking fantasy positions? It is the most interesting, at least in FPPR. They score the most points, obviously outside of quarterback. Quickly, I would like to address the fantasy league with you guys. So, in the description of this video, and probably a pinned comment as well, there will be links to a Discord server and an email address that I made for this channel. You don't need to be in the league to join the Discord server. This is just going to be a channel server for everybody. Also, if you're in the league, you don't have to join the Discord server, but it is going to be how I communicate because it's just a lot easier than, YouTube community posts or whatever. So definitely join the Discord. However, all you need to do to join the league is send me an email with your username for Sleeper and your username for YouTube. I went through all of my videos and all my comments where people, expressed interest in the league, and I have them, sorted by, earliest first, of course. So, as long as you are one of the first 11 people, because it's going to be 12 people and me, to, comment that you are interested in doing the league, email me your YouTube name so that I know who you are, and your sleeper name so I can invite you to the league. And yeah, that about does it. So currently more than 12 people have expressed interest in the league, but that doesn't mean that everyone that has commented is going to, join the league or send the email, or maybe they're not interested anymore. Maybe they don't see this. So I'm gonna mention it in a couple videos. And I figure a week from when this goes live, I will expand it a little bit. So first 11 people have dibs. After a week, as we get closer to the season, if other people have sent me the email that were maybe, 13th or 14th or whatever, they can join the league if I don't think that other people are gonna, show up. So that's kind of how I'm gonna do it. So yeah. Sorry about the long channel update thing. But we're gonna get started now with the tier list without further ado. Pulling up the website. I'm using this one. I know it's not as fun as having the players' faces, but this one just has every single player, and some of them didn't have all the players, and I just feel like this is better overall. So the tiers, I didn't name them all. I like to keep my tier lists, S tier is S. You gotta have S tier in your tier list. So we're going S, A, B, C, D, E. Then towards the bottom, we have Not For Me. And then We're Back. So there is a range of running backs that I just don't like drafting. And then there's a couple that I like towards the end. And then the sleepers, which are just the other draftable interesting names. I'm not sure we're going to get all the way to here, to be honest. We'll see how long the video goes. It is a lot of tiers, like the number of tiers, but I have a couple small tiers. You'll see. Speaking of small tiers, we're gonna start with the obvious. Bijan and Gibbs with Gibbs first. No surprises here. I'm not breaking new territory. This is the clear RB1 and RB2. So as I was saying, these are the clear RB1 and 2. Some people may have Bijan ahead of Gibbs, but I just think that the Lions offense is going to be better, or at least more stable. Like, it's an easier bet that the Lions offense will be better than Tua or Michael Penix led Falcons offense. But really there's nothing bad you could say about these guys. I mean, maybe you could say Gibbs has concerns because he hasn't had a role this big before. At least you're assuming a bigger role with Monty being replaced by Pacheco. But I mean, it's really just speculation. He's a young player. You can't, assume injuries for a young player. And yet both of these guys gonna catch passes, gonna break long runs. There's no point in lingering on these two. It's pretty obvious there. Tier 2, big tier. We are looking for Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. You know what? I'm not going to reveal the whole tier. I think I'm actually going to do it this way. I'll go one by one. So Jonathan Taylor, not in tier 1 because of, not like kind of age, but more so than age. The fact that he's had 300 carries in each of the last 2 years is a bit concerning. And then Daniel Jones coming off an Achilles injury. Now the vibes in Colts camp have been really good. I was more out on Taylor earlier in the offseason, and I still feel like I'm kind of getting tricked into believing that someone first year back from an Achilles is going to be just as good, and the offense will be fine. But yeah, I guess if I'm getting baited, I'm falling for it. There's been no negative news out of Colts camp, and they didn't sign any backup quarterback. They're still rocking with Anthony Richardson as the backup, so it's like everything they're saying and doing is looking positive for this offense. And obviously they started out amazing last year. So, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to have really good volume. Not known for his pass catching, but at least last year had a decent target share. So yeah, Jonathan Taylor, high upside. I'm a little bit concerned about the workload and potential injury, but, if he's healthy, high floor as well. James Cook I have next. Bills offense, you want players on offenses that are going to score a lot of points, and he is that. There was, beat reporters talking about how he's going to catch more passes this year. That's always exciting, but even without that, he led the league in rushing yards last year and scored a ton of touchdowns. Now, Josh Allen will also score a lot of QB sneak touchdowns, but the Bills will score a lot of points, so I think there's room for for them both to score. I mean, as seen by last year, Cook had a really good year. An asterisk on James Cook. Once you add in playoff touches, he did hit 385 touches, which is over that 370, which is like the curse of 370 number that you hear. I actually did like my own research into it. It's about a 50-50 shot. So, I mean, if you look at, the 370 touches and then look at their stats the next year, it pays off like 50. It's like slightly less than 50%, but it's like 56-44. So, but my thing was, if I looked at every single running back, would it not be 50-50 that they're going to have a close year to the next year? So I don't know how much credence I'm going to give to the curse of 370. However, that being said, let's get him up here. McCaffrey, 5th. For him, it's a little different. Couple reasons. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but he had 413 touches in the regular season. And then you add in playoffs, he had 450 touches. So, James Cook had 385, which is close to the 370 number. But 450 is like blowing that out of the water. And he just turned 30. So, I feel like, and he has injury history. So, for those reasons, I think you could be more cautious with McCaffrey than James Cook for the same kind of concern of touches last year. That being said, I still have him here as 5th. If you take him in the front of this tier, I understand why. I just kind of feel like he goes back and forth between a good year and then being hurt. And like I said, 450 touches is crazy. But I would take him 5th. I couldn't see myself taking him over the next guy, which I guess means I could make it a separate tier, but I already have enough tiers, so we're going to leave it how it is. But obviously, if he's playing, I mean, maybe if he's playing, he's going to be in this tier. Maybe Gibbs could outscore him, or maybe Bijan could outscore him, but he's going to finish no worse than RB3 if he's healthy and plays all the games, or, most of the games. Especially if Kittle isn't himself and Mike Evans gets another injury. Pearsall's already out for the year, and it could be a situation like last year where he's the only one left that can do anything for them, so he could go insane again. But like I said, he's turning 30. He already had low yards per carry last year for him, so the efficiency could be dropping. If the receivers are healthier than last year, that he may not catch as many passes. So I think there are some, red flags to be concerned about. But again, if you think, I'm not going to play scared, I'm going to take him, more power to you. But for me, it's just piling up a little bit too much. Next player. Ashton Genty as my RB6. Genty, new head coach, coming from the Seahawks, who just won the Super Bowl, so that should be an upgrade. New quarterback, Geno, good in Seattle, terrible last year. Hard to know why, what was going on there. But should be better quarterback play, should be better offensive scheme, should be a better offensive line. They got Linderbaum as their center in free agency this year. I could see, I've heard people saying yes, all these things could be better, but the Raiders could still not be good enough for him to pay off an RB6. And I understand that, but he's just, he catches passes, and he's the only guy getting red zone carries. Even if you factor in the quarterback, like, I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be rushing for touchdowns. Mendoza, I don't know. He seems a little more likely. I'm pretty sure he had that rushing touchdown in the national championship game, so, you know. But at least Kirk Cousins is not going to be QB sneaking. He's not going to be mobile. So Genty should catch passes and score touchdowns, which is what we want in an improved offense with a new coach. So, yeah, I like him. RB7. There he is. There's the Bengals. I like how the jerseys match. You know what the jerseys look like. You know, you got the Rams. You know, the Chargers. I don't know. Anyway, Chase Brown, RB7. Similar to Genty. Well, I guess I take it back that I said he was similar to Genty because the Bengals are a known commodity, good offense. And Chase Brown will catch passes. P. Ryan mixes in on third down more than I would like, to be honest. But, I mean, Chase Brown ran like actual routes last year. I remember against the Bills, he like caught a like 15-yard touchdown pass from Burrow, which was, you know, anytime your running back has that, even as an option, is really good. So he'll catch passes. He'll be on a good offense. I mean, it's kind of, let's just keep it simple, you know. Of course, Burrow could get hurt again, which hurts everybody in this offense. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say it is what it is. Obviously, I'm accounting for McCaffrey to get injured. Burrow is very injury prone, and yet I still have Chase Brown this high. You know, sue me. I don't know. I think quarterbacks are a little less likely to get injured than running backs. But yeah, I like Chase Brown in that offense, assuming Joe Burrow is healthy. And then this is actually the last player in this tier. We're going to grab Saquon Barkley. Like I said, pretty big tier. These are like back of the first round, early second round guys. Saquon. I know he didn't have a good year last year. He did end up getting like 300 carries though, so he's kind of in the same thing as Taylor with a lot of carries in back-to-back years, which kind of makes me nervous. He's getting a little bit older. But I do think that it's kind of like McCaffrey, where the year before last, so last year McCaffrey had popped off. The year before he had the double Achilles tendonitis, right? Barkley popped off. Then everyone, well, I don't want to say everyone knew because he was drafted highly, but I feel like it makes sense that he had a bad year last year, coming off of the really good year, and now he's primed. You know, they didn't go to the Super Bowl. They had a shorter season, which means a longer off season. Now he's primed to get back to his ways, you know. He can catch the ball. He has some drops. You know, that's gonna happen. But, and the touch push is there. But obviously 2 years ago you saw the upside even with Jalen Hurts there. And they have a new offensive coordinator. So, I like the Eagles this year. I think they're a little bit underpriced. All of them. And that includes Saquon. So now we're moving into tier 3, which is like definite second rounders, mid second round. I'm not going to say late second round because I do think that all these guys are kind of gone by the mid second round, including this next tier. Kenneth Walker, I'm going to put next. I'm actually going to just reveal this tier because it's only 3 guys. Hampton and Achan. So, this is one of the... I struggle with the order of this tier. I have Walker ahead of Achan and Hampton. Reason being, Achan, obviously on the Dolphins, should be a bad offense. Should also have a lower target share because Malik Willis is going to check down less than Tua because he's a running quarterback. He had like 9.5 rush attempts per game. Of course, he only started 2 games, but still, in those 2 games he started, he averaged like 10 rush attempts. So, I mean, it's a little bit scary for the running back, but he's obviously such a talented player. You know, he can make it happen whenever he has the ball in his hands. So, you know, I still have him in the second round, but I have him behind these guys. Hampton. Everyone's hype about Mike McDaniel. I was hyped too. I know coach speak is like, you're not supposed to let that dictate too much. But when the guy literally says, bad news, fantasy managers, like, how am I supposed to not factor that in at all? Like, he's literally telling you that it's not going to be a great situation for fantasy. And I know that that's, like, overblown for sure. But I still have to factor it in at least a little bit because I'd feel dumb if I'm bullish on Hampton when the coach literally told me not to be. So I put Walker ahead of him. Obviously, last year was Walker's only healthy season. That's scary. But it's just the fact that behind him, there's really nobody at all. So it's just so hard not to feel like if he's healthy, he'll be a safe pick that'll have volume. And, you know, Mahomes has the ACL, he'll probably scramble less. You know, they want to run it more and put less on Mahomes. And they paid him like $50 million or whatever it was, so I like Kenneth Walker. One more thing on Hampton. You know, the story goes that Mike McDaniel really wanted Keaton Mitchell. Like, he went to the front office and, you know, really advocated for them to sign Keaton Mitchell. And Keaton Mitchell obviously catches passes. That's like all he does. So that kind of worries me on Hampton as well. But again, I mean, Hampton's like the prototype, you know. He's just a beast. And he's a first round pick. So you definitely want to invest in him on a Mike McDaniel offense. But I'm a little worried about Keaton Mitchell. And yeah, so I mean, I still have him in the second round without a doubt. But I just put Walker ahead of him. Okay, never mind. I was like, we're at 28 minutes already, but that's because there was background noise, so I stopped. I kept the recording going, but I stopped talking for a little bit. Anyway, C tier, very small tier, so I'm just gonna do that all at once. Where is the Ravens? What does the Ravens jersey look like? Oh, wow, right here. Arizona. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo. Got it. So that's how it's sorted. Derrick Henry and Jeremiah Love. Truth be told, Love is high on this. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do about his high ankle sprain. High ankle sprains in season, I know, is like a kiss of death. It kind of like turf toe, like it just lingers, it slows them down all year. I'm not familiar with high ankle sprains in the off season though. He has like a month to do nothing but rehab it. I need to look into it a little bit more because I really want to draft Jeremiah Love in the third round. I feel like that was one of my favorite picks in my mock drafts. Like, I think it's good value. He was going at the end of the second in best ball earlier in the year. Now he's going in like the mid third, and I really like him there. But now with the high ankle sprain, I just don't know. I'm gonna leave him here for now. I have him in the same tier with Derrick Henry. A small tier. I couldn't put these guys up there because I just don't think there's any world I take Henry over any of these guys, at least in half PPR or full PPR. So I just made a mini tier here. Henry, obviously he's old, but he's been old, so everyone's kind of just moved past that. My thing with Henry, originally, I thought he had a worse year than he had. I thought he had a bad year and then kind of tricked everybody with the 45-point game. That kind of boosted all his stats, which is partially true. But he had like 1,500 rushing yards last year, and if you look at it, he started out really, really bad, but he was double digits for like the last half of the season consistently. So he had a better year than I thought. He's gonna be the goal line guy. He's just not gonna catch passes. It's gonna be Derrick Henry, first and second down and third and short. Otherwise, it's gonna be Justice Hill on the field, and they're gonna pass the ball. So that's just a bit of a concern. So I would take these guys ahead of him. But if I'm in the late second or, especially the third round, I would take him. And, maybe I wouldn't feel amazing about it, but I feel like running back is so shallow. He's one of the guys you gotta take your shot for. Okay. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say big tier, but I was looking at the other one. Or the one after this. So, this tier coming up is this is early first, late first, early second, middle of the second, late second, late second / third round. Jeremiah Love kind of being a wild card. Now these guys are third round players that could potentially, if they fall to the fourth round, you would like. I'm going to start with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs by, draft time. Labor Day weekend is when I do all my drafts. Also around when we'll do the draft for this channel. By that time, he could be higher. He could be, up here, at least. Maybe in here, but probably like here. It's just the off-season. He has allegations and could be suspended. And I'm just getting bad vibes, so obviously if he had a completely squeaky clean off-season, he would be higher than this. I'm just not sure how to read it right now. But he's the workhorse of the Packers. Again, receiving work and goal line role. That's what we want. But just a little bit of uncertainty from the offseason, so he's docked a little bit. Then give me Javonte. And Kyron. 2 Williams back to back. Javonte, I liked a ton in the 4th round. Now he's going in the 3rd round. And, I'm still okay with it if I need a running back. But, I obviously hate to pay something. You hate to overpay for, if you got something at a certain price for like a month. Now all of a sudden you have to pay more. You're not going to love it. But I do still think the Cowboys are going to be a really good offense. Yes, they're going to be very pass happy, but I still think in a good offense, everybody kind of eats a little bit. They're going to score rushing touchdowns with their running back. That's just how football works. So yeah, I think you have a clear lead back on a good offense. Jaden Blue is not really, pressing Javante yet. And then Kyron I put here because he just gets it done every year somehow. He's always doubted. And then ends up being a top scorer, an RB1 a lot of the time. That being said, I'm doubting him. I don't love to draft him. I just feel like out of respect for the consensus, I have to kind of look past my own biases and put him up here with these guys. But there was the Blake Corum 50-50 split report, but that was kind of a long time ago in the beginning of the offseason and hasn't really been repeated. But I mean, Blake Corum was like a startable RB2 at the end of last year. So, I mean, how am I not supposed to look a little bit sideways at Kyron Williams in the third round? But there are Kyron believers out there, so I just figured I'll leave him in the tier with these guys. But personally, I don't love to draft Kyron in the third. Okay, now, big tier coming in, starting with... Oh, that is the Packers. I got really confused. Brees Hall, he has a groin injury now. I don't know how serious that is. We'll have to see. I'm kind of not even including that in this ranking. He's at the top of this tier. It's a tier break because obviously he's on the Jets, which I know is like maybe a little bit too simple of analysis, but I mean, Gino was so bad last year, and I don't really trust in the head coach. The Lions, DC, I'm blanking on his name right now, but I don't really trust the coach. Last year was not good. Gino wasn't good last year, and now Gino's supposed to fix the offense. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Running backs on bad offenses is kind of tough because they're not going to run it as much. And Brees Hall can catch passes out of the backfield, but I mean, the touchdown upside is so low that I can't put him up there with these guys on good offenses. I could maybe condense this tier now that I'm just looking at it, but I don't know though, because Derrick Henry and Jeremiah Love, I think, are in a different tier, at least if Jeremiah Love is healthy. Anyway, a lot of players left to go, so don't have time to retread old tiers. Travis Etienne, hot off the presses, really. Maybe it was yesterday. Kamara has an MCL injury and is going to miss a month. Obviously, a player like Alvin Kamara missing training camp is much less of a big deal than like how Egbuka and Burden are missing camp. Those guys are year 2 players trying to, learn an expanded role. Kamara, he's a veteran. I was trying to think of a word above veteran because, I mean, he's been in the league and on the Saints for a very long time. So, him missing camp isn't too big of a deal, but I do think it does make me feel better about ETN in the sense of, if Kamara's already hurt, he got hurt last year. He always gets hurt in the second half of the past couple seasons since he's been older, and now his knee is bothering him. It's very possible that he ends up getting hurt when the season actually starts, and then late in the year, Travis Etienne is a workhorse for this team. So I feel a lot better after that news on Etienne. I was kind of out on him in the 4th round. I was in, but then I kind of decided I was out, but now I'm kind of back in a little bit. Next up, where are Giants. Oh, here we go, Scatterboo. So yeah, these are all, these are third round. These are like fourth round guys. I would say. Scatterboo. I really liked taking Scatterboo in the fourth or fifth. But now I'm a little bit nervous. They signed Najee Harris. He is coming off a pretty gruesome ankle injury, which I knew I was low on Scatterboo because of the ankle injury. Then camp, he was getting hyped. He did a backflip. I'm back in. Now it's like, oh, it's an RB1 for a team that's pretty intriguing. In the fourth or fifth round, you gotta take that. Now they sign Najee Harris, and it's like, well, are they worried about Scatterboo's ankle? Is it really just because Tyron Tracy missed the block that they signed Najee Harris? Am I supposed to believe that it has nothing to do with Scatterboo? That's definitely possible, but it makes me a little bit nervous. Next time I do this, I will take like the third and fourth stringers out of this for sure, or at least move them all to the bottom. Where are the dang Texans? I could do this. Houston. Oh, okay, there we go. I forgot it was in alphabetical order. I forgot I realized that. Oh, I kind of like the way that jersey looks. I'm going Monty. Monty in the fifth round. I like a lot. Sometimes he's been rising a little bit, and then I don't know how I feel about taking him in the fourth. He is 29, I believe. So he's starting to get up there for running backs. But what you like about Monty, Woody Marks is the passing down back, but the Texans defense is so good, you expect them to win games by having a lead and running out the clock with their defense, which is what Monty wants to do. So I really like taking Monty in the fifth round. I'm going to go a little bit faster here. Chicago, they're going to be up top. Swift. I'll actually just finish this out. Cleveland and Jacksonville. Swift, I think, is being undervalued. He finishes as, I believe the stat was, at least an RB2 in like every year of his career. So there's some safety there. Manungai, I believe, is missing time in camp with an injury. So that is a small bump to Swift. Manungai will come in and steal touchdowns at some point during the year. But Swift is a dynamic player. He's the RB1 for the Bears, and Ben Johnson is talking about breaking the points record, so you figure he's going to try and run up the score. And you can get their main running back this late. Feels pretty good. Judkins. Like I said, it's kind of like Brees Hall. The offense is going to be so bad, and he doesn't catch passes. They have Dylan Sampson for that. So it's a little bit sus, but I'm still putting him in this tier because he is gonna have volume, which I know. Bad volume is the classic dead zone running back trap. But he's a young player. He showed signs last year. I liked it better when Shador was starting. I don't know how I feel about Deshaun Watson. But you never know if the Browns end up shocking people like the Seahawks offense or the Colts offense last year. Then all of a sudden, Judkins is looking really good. So I'm putting him in this tier. Like I said, these are the last guys before not for me. So these are guys I feel comfortable with in their role. That being said, Tootin, I've been kind of getting lower on Tootin. I've been hearing some Tootin doubters, and they're kind of getting in my head. But I do think Liam Cohen is a good offensive mind. The Jags should be a good offense again. And, they didn't pay Chris Rodriguez much at all. So just the upside for Tootin is definitely there. So that's why I have him in this tier. Okay, so the not for me tier. These are guys that, I mean, some of them are going to be ranked above these guys. I'm just, once it hits Newton, I kind of don't want to draft a running back. I want like 3 of these guys. 2 starters and a flex or a bench player that I feel really, really good about. And then I can ignore running back through these middle rounds and then come back at the end. That's kind of my goal. So with these guys that I don't like, Bucky, I'm just gonna put them all out there because this video is already pretty long and it's getting late for me. New England. Oh, see, look, even the tier list has it. Trevion. Seattle, Bryce, Steelers, Warren, Titans, Pollard. Oh, I like those jerseys that they went with. Pollard, Ramondre. So Ramondre isn't in this tier. Ramondre, Juba, Kamir, Juba, Hubbard, Rico Dowdle. Number 13, that's weird. JK, and then the two Denver guys. So, something, as you can see, there's 2 guys in 3 different teams in this tier. This tier is kind of like, I'm not sure about your role, and you're going a little bit too high for me. Bucky, they signed Gainwell, and Sean Tucker is probably going to steal some touchdowns, and the Tampa's offense was so bad to end last year, I kind of can't unsee that. Trevion, he was worse than Ramondre for fantasy last year. And I just feel like it's going to be a similar situation, and he's going way too early. And Bryce is growing on me a little bit because Charbonnet, it just feels like you want to take players that are going to get better as the season goes on and, win the fantasy playoffs. With Bryce, he's going to start out hot, theoretically, and then Charbonnet might just vulture touchdowns like they did to Kenneth Walker as the year goes on, so not in love with that. Warren, I think Dowdle was too good last year for him to not significantly impact Warren, so I'm out on both of them. Same thing with Dobbins and RV. They're just going to split work. I'm kind of out on both of them. And then Juba. He's actually probably not going to be ranked this high. He's probably going to be ranked below Jonathan Brooks. But just for the sake of keeping the tier names good, I'm leaving Brooks. I'm leaving it like this. But I'm sure by draft season, Brooks will be above Juba Hubbard in the rankings. He's week to week with a hamstring, which you never want to see. Soft tissue injuries with, week to week with a hamstring, that could be forever. Tony Pollard, I almost forgot. Ty J. Spears is there. I'm not super inspired by Cam Ward and the Titans offense. Yeah, it's possible that these guys end up being pretty good. I think Stevenson is the one I'm most interested in, or Bryce. But it's just like, do they have a ceiling that'll make them interesting in fantasy? Like, they're definitely boring, if nothing else. Which maybe isn't a reason to not take them, but I just don't see the upside for these guys. Dobbins was good at the beginning of last year, but he's always an injury risk as well. So Jonathan Brooks, the Weir Bag tier, these are guys that I'm excited about. Like, once again. Who's the third? I have Menunga here. Again, I know he's injured. I'm not too sure how long he's going to be out, so maybe he'll drop a little bit, but I think, again, Bears offense, good offense. He's going to score some touchdowns. He was pretty you know, he's pretty interesting last year on some of his runs. Corum, I think if Corum ends up taking work from Kyron in a good offense, that's interesting. And then Brooks, with Chuba out, obviously tore his ACL in college, comes back, plays like 4 games, tears his ACL again. If his price gets too expensive, I mean, you can't, you can't feel great about it. But he was, what was he? He was a second round pick, I think. I'm a Panthers fan, so I should know this. He was like an early second round pick, I believe. I know he was the first running back taken in that draft, whatever it was. So, I mean, he's a talented player. But yeah, there's the knee concerns. But with Chuba out now, he has a chance to claim this backfield, so he's pretty exciting as well. Okay, I have a long list of sleepers here. I'll do them. Whatever. Let's run it. I mean, they're pretty easy to explain. Tracy, handcuff for Scattaboo because I'm sus on the ankle injury. Although, now that I think about it, Najee Harris is there, so maybe Tracy's bad start. Algier, premium handcuff, especially if James Conner gets traded. Minnesota. Jordan Mason, talk in camp is that he's gonna have more opportunity than Aaron Jones. So, I mean, maybe he should even be up here if he's gonna have weekly role. Could be undervalued. Spears, premium handcuff. Charbonnet. Also, don't pay too much attention to the ordering of this sleeper tier. I didn't think too much about it. These are just running backs I think are worth rostering, depending on how deep your league is. Charbonnet, if you have an IR spot, he could be something later in the year. Keaton Mitchell, like I said, Mike McDaniel really wanted him. I think he'll have a weekly role catching passes. Brian Robinson, handcuffed to Bijan. Pacheco, handcuffed to Gibbs. Jonah Coleman, if you're just out on these guys like I am, maybe you just take Coleman later. He's been getting some buzz at camp. Same thing, Gainwell, if he's the pass catching back in Tampa. And then if Buggy goes down, he could be a good handcuff. Woody Marks should be the third down back for I almost said for Texas, that's weird, for the Texans. Chris Rodriguez, I don't know who this Allen Jr. guy is. Chris Rodriguez, like I said, I've been seeing some people doubting Tootin and hyping up Rodriguez, so figured I'd throw him in here as the sleeper tier. Dylan Sampson should be a third down back for Cleveland. Maybe worth rostering. Kamara, same kind of thing, although now he's got a knee injury, so maybe not. And then the last two are just pure, nope, not that one, Emmett Johnson. Handcuffed to Kenneth Walker, who, like I said, has had injury history. And then one of the San Francisco guys, I've heard that Kalen Black has actually gotten more, had a better camp than this guy, Jordan James, I believe. So when it's closer to draft time, whoever it looks like the better handcuff to CMC is, because again, I'm low on CMC, so yeah, that's gonna be it. Gibbs, Bijan in S tier, Taylor, Cook, McCaffrey, Genty, Brown, and Barkley in A tier, Walker, Hampton, and Achan in their own tier, Henry and Love in their own tier, Jacobs, Williams, and Williams. Then kind of a big tier of all Etienne, Scat, Monty, Swift, Judkins, and Tootin. The not for me tier of all these kind of, I feel like dead zone guys, Irving, Anderson, Price, Warren, Pollard, Stevenson, Hubbard, Dowdle, Dobbins, and Harvey. Then some interesting backups. Brooks, Gorman, and Nungai, although Brooks no longer a backup, probably. Or potentially, I won't say probably. And then the sleepers that I think are worth a late round stash. Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy with an asterisk, Algier, Spears, Charbonnet, Mitchell, Brian Robinson, Pacheco, Coleman, Gainwell, Marks, Chris Rodriguez, Dylan Sampson, Kamara, Emmett Johnson, and then one of the San Francisco running backs to handcuff McCaffrey, whichever one looks to be the guy by draft season. So, long video. Didn't expect it to be this long, but here we are. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, check the pinned comment for the Discord. Definitely join that if you can. Yes, I mean email, YouTube username, like channel name, and sleeper username so I can invite you. And yeah, that'll be it for me. We're gonna do all the other tier lists. Yeah, that'll be to come. Wrestling content is coming. I'm just really far behind, and I will catch up. And it's also, I mean, this is prime fantasy season, so it's kind of hard for me not to try and, capitalize on that while I can. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me. I really appreciate you. Have a good night. Peace.